Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to this episode of The Formula. It's me, your host, Trevor Carlson, here to share with you my experiences, experiments, and conversations around, travel and, really designing and living a fulfilling life in whatever form that means for you. So this is going to be one of the first video podcasts that I've ever done, just solo. I think you've probably seen some of the interviews I've done in the past, but this one's a bit more of a different style. So kind of excited yet nervous to take this leap, getting this done. But I'm going to follow my own advice and, just do it, just get started, and get better as it goes on. Now, one of the things that I'm frequently asked while I travel is, am I lonely? Isn't traveling by yourself really lonely? Don't you want company or someone to go with you? Now, there really is an easy answer to this question. My gut reaction is to say, no, I'm fine. But in reality, it's a bit more complicated than that. There's been times where I'll be at an Airbnb or something, or an apartment I've rented out for a period of time, and I'll be laying awake, and there's this like strange feeling that I'd get, like anxiety, or just feeling very lonely, or maybe like an emptiness in my chest. Now, I waited most of my life to travel because I really thought that I needed someone to go with me. I needed a companion, a significant other, or a friend to share these moments with. Now, as time kind of went by, I realized that the moment may never come. So I really set off on this journey. I am now on my own. I put everything on hold I was told that I was supposed to, or I thought that I was supposed to do that was important, and anything really resembling like a normal life to spend most of the year traveling alone. One thing I didn't expect was that the hardest parts of the past year were the most important. Those nights where I was laying awake, kind of contemplating things and feeling like I wished I had somebody there or somebody I could talk to. Those nights lying awake in bed, feeling as if like that room had been cut off completely from the rest of the world. That I cut off from everything I was familiar with, and really no way to reach anyone. And that wasn't really the case, but that's what it felt like in my head. And there were other occasions when, even though I was surrounded by people, I felt like I wasn't the normal outgoing person that I typically am, and that I lacked the ability to interact with like surrounding society. Now, it felt like I could observe, but I couldn't participate. Now, these moments when I felt like this, and still do feel like this, are rare, but they're always followed by a period of reflection, learning, and growth. So they really give me, this alone time, and when those feelings pop up, that anxiety, that emptiness, they give me space to learn how to be alone, like what it's like to be alone. And every single time I come to the conclusion that really that feeling of loneliness or anxiety or emptiness, it's more of a symptom from something else. Like I'm not satisfied in another area. I'm not taking care of myself. I'm not getting enough rest. I'm not taking part in my hobbies that I care about. It's never that I need someone else there. It's more that I'm just not okay with myself being alone with myself at that period of time, because I'm not participating in the world. I'm not doing the things that I need to give my life purpose and meaning and joy. Now, it could also be a lot of other reasons why I'm feeling this way. It could be like I haven't forgiven myself or let something go that has happened. Oh, there's a fly all over. That has happened in the past. And I need to grant, or I need maybe to forgive others for something that's happened. And it's not really that they do or don't deserve forgiveness. It's that by holding on to those things, it can cause a lot of these feelings of anxiety or loneliness. And really also letting go the value that I place on the opinions of, place on the opinions of others, and accepting that what I'm doing and what I want for me is totally cool. And it doesn't really matter what anybody's opinion of it is. I mean, as long as it's not self-destructive or anything like that, it's not hurting anybody else. If somebody thinks that my writing or my podcast sucks, like that's okay, because I'm willing to work on it until it gets to the point where it is worth listening to, or my writing is worth reading. And so I shouldn't allow those opinions or the opinions of my lifestyle choices affect my path. Now, every round I really had with this loneliness was really a round against myself. And it's definitely it's something that you should be afraid of, but it's something definitely necessary to do, to really hold up a mirror to ourselves and ask ourselves, am I proud of the choices I've made? Why am I doing this? What is the point? Is this an intentional decision, or was this a reaction to something else that happened? These questions are not easy to answer, and it is much easier if they are avoided. Now, I've avoided a lot of these questions at many points in time in my life, sometimes unknowingly, until I found myself this year, being in a country by myself, or somewhere where there's no one that you know at all, sometimes not even people that can speak English very well, and you're kind of just stuck with yourself. And these questions or these things kind of pop back up once I gave them space to really be. And maybe that is the thing we fear more, not being alone somewhere, but being really alone with ourselves and these thoughts and maybe these things that we carry with us. To face who we are and the results of our lifetime of choices, whether they were intentional or whether we believe they were the right choices or not. It's really not a fun thing to do, but it is absolutely necessary. We can't control a lot of things in our lives, but as Viktor Frankl, the author of Man's Search for Meaning, states in his book, everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given circumstances, to choose one's own way. We can decide to be alone for a while and learn to love, forgive, or understand. We can decide to be alone for a while and learn to love, forgive, or understand ourselves at any point in time. It is a lot easier to turn on Netflix, have another drink. I know I love my old fashions or bourbon, or distract ourselves in any number of ways. I mean, for me, it's Reddit, reading a book, calling up an old friend to catch up. Now, I don't always like the answers that these questions really. Now, I don't always like the answers that I find to these questions, especially when I was first faced with them. That was really, really challenging for me. Some of the things were not easy to accept, such as doing things to fulfill others' expectations instead of doing things to fulfill myself, to choose things that I cared about instead of doing things that I thought I was supposed to do. Another example is chasing wealth to find value in my own eyes, resenting other people who had acted in a way that I didn't like myself for also doing, failing in several different endeavors, and moments that I didn't show enough gratitude to my friends or family. I remember when I was a kid, my parents, they bought me a guitar because I wanted one, and I practiced for a few weeks, and I wasn't very good because you're not good unless you're a child prodigy when you first pick up a guitar. And I was just like, oh man, this guitar is trash. And even though it was really just the fact that it's normal to not be good at something when you first begin, I just, as a child, didn't really connect the dots on that. So, moments like those pop up, and you kind of have to learn to face how you've behaved. Now, everything happens when we take this time with ourselves, we accept it, and we move on. We let it go and commit to how things will be in the future. Loneliness is scary and difficult, but by learning to be alone, we find the solutions to the challenges we didn't even realize that we were facing half the time. Now, before I wrap up this short little episode we've done, I just want you to take some time to maybe go for a walk, spend an hour or two by yourself, see what kind of comes up. I like to write things down. I mean, I have my notebook and everything right here, always with me, always writing stuff down. And when things get uncomfortable, don't get out your phone and jump on Instagram or social media. Don't call someone to chat with them or catch up. Don't turn on Netflix. Just kind of sit there and think through it. It's uncomfortable. It's not fun. It's not supposed to be fun, though. But for me at least, it has helped me to process things, kind of reflect, and kind of move my life more in the direction of where I'm proud of it. Every day isn't perfect by any means, but it's helped me to get to a point where I can, look in the mirror, look at my calendar, look at how I'm spending my time, and be much happier than in previous years. So that's pretty much a wrap for the topic of are you lonely? So just one quick question that I would have for you guys. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Make sure and check out some of our upcoming videos or our previous interviews that we've done. We've done some really amazing, we've done some interviews with some really amazing people We've done some interviews with some really amazing people and I would love it if you'd take the time to check them out. If you're listening to this on podcast or in podcast form, go ahead and pull out your podcast application and hit the reviews button. Leaving us a review really helps people like you find us when they are, trying to. Go ahead and pull out your podcast app and leave us a review if you have an extra couple minutes. Reviews really help people like you find us and move up in the rankings, help us get more downloads, and it also helps us to know that we're doing a good job and should keep going. So appreciate you guys tuning in, and I look forward to you stopping by next time.